tested mine. Boo, boo, boo. Boo, 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 boo. Boo, 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 boo. Boo, 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 boo. Boo, 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 boo. Yeah. All right. I'm so excited to see everybody in the chat and say hi. It's a great day. You gotta wait for it. Hello there. Good day. It's great to see you guys. Thanks for being here on this beautiful Tuesday. It is 11:10. I'm gonna try and move this back. This could disconnect the entire stream. If it doesn't do it, I'm gonna be so happy. Great to see you. Sorry, no, it's gotta be making noise. Happy day to you all. Good morning. We don't say morning here. It is a mooring. This is a place where your keel can park itself next to other keels, and we can all enjoy some time together. We are spending time. This is a campfire of time, and all of us are gathered around it together. Sip that water. I already regret wearing this shirt. That's okay. Today is episode 183, the Patsy versus the Stooge. Do I have that thumbnail up? It's probably like the one thing I don't have. I'm gonna freak out. I have to see how many freaking slides I have today, and the one I don't have is the thumbnail. Is that it? Could be right there. It is. I realize there's music playing, but there you go. There's a thumbnail. The Patsy versus the Stooge. The Patsy versus the Stooge. And we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about the difference between these two things. And they might be closer. These two people on the screen might be closer than you think. I'm going to first do a quick round to the chat. Make sure everybody's okay. Nothing's on fire. There's Joe Mega. And that's good. I'm laughing. Okay, good. Everybody's happy. It's great to see you guys. For those of you who endured me in yesterday's episode, I want to say thank you very much. I feel fucking great. I slept for like 14 hours last night. I cried like a bitch yesterday in Dojo. That's one of the nice things about Dojo is you can watch me cry like a bitch in there sometimes. Is that the first time? Other people have made me cry. It could have been the first time I cried, but it was like a real... God, it was so powerful. And the comments from yesterday, even though some people in here were like, the stream is boring, other people were really like, you know what, this is fucking great, James. You calling out closet polygamy is reminding me of when this happened to me, or I wish I would have done this, or I didn't call it out. In fact, I played with it, or I engaged in it. And so even if, I don't even see how it would be... my friend T, so I have a lot of respect for, said, I'm feeding this by doing it. And I've if anything I've been thinking about, it's been more about that, because why do I finally feel better if I'm feeding into the triangle? Why do I finally feel absolved? Why do I finally feel clean and cleansed? I've been writing Andy and Lauren since May. Like, I've been telling both of them, hey, triangles are bad, triangles are bad, triangles are bad, and here's this, and here's this, and here's this. Not once have either of them written back to me. Not once have either of them written to the group. But I swear this isn't today's topic, but just real quick. I was the only person that was showing the triangle. Neither one of them would ever do that. And so when I've tried all summer to get one of them to stop, to get both of them to stop, and they finally do, I go public with it, and it's fucking gone. It's instant. And do you know what causes that? It was your witness. Your witness. Because they weren't giving it witness. Do you see what I mean? I would write Andy and say, dude, she's making you into a cuck. She's doing this. And I would write her and say, Lauren, you're making him into a cuck. You're doing this. You're treating me like this. I feel like this. And Andy, I feel like this. And we got to stop this. We got to stop this. And at no point in time could either of them face it. They could not bear witness, which kept me in pain. Does that make sense? That kept me in pain because no one would grant it witness. And so finally, when I frickin' did it, it's like it's all gone. The witness is all absolved. my witness, my hunger for witness has been absolved. That's the way to say it. Sorry, I was reading Rachel's comment. Whenever Rachel types something, I'm like, stop everything. What did Rachel just type? And I know that puts a lot of pressure on her, but anyway. It's cool if you still didn't like yesterday's episode, that's totally fine. If you still thought that was bad or unhealthy, please leave comments. Please do. I encourage you all. Leave comments. Tell me what you think, because I think even talking about it, even disagreeing about this issue and how I handled it, I think is beautiful because it's helping us all find our center. It's helping us all see. I hope that people will see that James was willing to expose himself in order to cleanse himself. It's a very selfish move, by the way, but seeing him do that means that it's fine, that I can do that too. And I cannot think of one thing that would help more marriages across this country than if we had a shame against polygamy. You know, when I spoke out against polygamy, Lauren reported me and she shut down my Facebook platform. Since Friday or whatever, I can't post. I'm right in the middle of my new book sales. I'm being punished for exposing polygamy, for speaking out against it. And that's fine. It's showing you the sacrifice. Check it out. It's showing you the sacrifice that the vitriol wants you to make in order to defend yourself. I have created, not even that she was attacking me, by the way, but just in order to withhold my own boundaries. That for me doing that in front of all these witnesses is, in a way, I want you to imagine that each of you have your inner child that's kind of guarding your moat. And he's like in charge of the entire moat, but he's like this inner child because you left that fucker a long time ago because you were told, oh, feelings don't matter, none of that counts, this isn't real, that isn't real, right? But the entire time this inner child's been guarding your castle, your portcullis, right? The moat and the drawbridge, all that. And he's like, I'm guarding this moat, oh fuck. And for the first time ever, the king came out and stood in front of his guard, the little child, the inner child, and said, this is a boundary. Yeah, this is a fucking boundary. Fuck you, fuck you, fuck you. And if more people see that, even if I fail, like let's say that I fail and I end up devastated, or people tell me how wrong I am, or Lauren shuts me down today because I'm about to post the article that she tried to shut down on Saturday. Even if all that ends up destroying me, it wouldn't matter because enough other people would see that to be like, hey, fuck triangles, fuck polygamy, fuck all this. And by the way, if you're a polygamist and you're honest about it, I have more respect for you than these people because you're honest about it. And if you want to embrace in that kind of triangle out in the open, yeah, good fucking luck, buddy. I'm sure you three will be super happy for the rest of your lives for the next 12 fucking minutes. But anyway, hey, not to sound bitter. I admire the authenticity. I admire the honesty so much more than the closet polygamy, which is truly what I think set me off in all this. So, let's get started, guys. I want to talk about these two dudes, and in order to get there, I want to start with Asheville. Asheville's my hometown, beautiful place. Asheville just today passed a law. The city council passed it 7-0 in favor of reparations. And this is the Asheville City Council reparations form. This is what they unanimously voted for. And whereas black people have disproportionately been limited to confined routes of travel provided by public transportation, whereas black people have been living in brown districts where sewage is high. This is all they're saying. And I've highlighted one thing. Oh, this is weird. Best apocalypse ever, by the way. Whereas black people have disproportionately suffered from the isolation of food deserts and childcare deserts. Asheville just passed this black reparations bill. Whereas black people have disproportionately suffered from the isolation of food deserts and childcare deserts. If you're new to this show, this is not The Onion. This is not a sarcasm. In fact, I call sarcasm hyenas, don't I, guys? Tell them. Everyone tell them in chat. That's hyena talk. We try and stay away from that. I am not making this up. I'm just going to read it one more time. Whereas black people have disproportionately suffered from the isolation of food deserts and childcare deserts. I know what you're thinking. James, it's deserts. They deserted them. The point I'm trying to make is I want you to, it's funny, right? The point I'm trying to make to you is that saving something is how you destroy it. Saving something is how Wetiko destroys it. Let me clarify that. Wetiko destroys by claiming to save. And in Asheville, this is Asheville too, reparations equals defunding the Asheville police. Reparations equals whereas we have to take care of black people because black people can't take care of themselves. Black people need white people to pass laws because white people are the one that pass laws, right? We always say, well, these are all white laws. So we need white people to pass white laws to help black people. And in this, we've apologized. The City Council of Asheville has apologized. They've apologized for enslaving the black people. They've apologized for the segregation. And to apologize for the segregation, they are going to segregate black people and give them a reward. Now, the reparation doesn't go directly to them. It goes to programs that the government uses to spend to separate and segregate the black people. Because if we separate and segregate the black people, then they are one of us. But by separating and segregating them, they become one of us. It's Wetiko. It's Wetiko. By cooking this food, you know, I'm not even going to say that. I'm going to say that. That's where it's the last thing. On like October 28th or something, she sent me a photo of her cooking food in Andy's kitchen to me saying, one day I will be cooking food for you. And I was so fucking blind that I missed it. I didn't even catch it, guys. That's how fucking drunk I was on the addiction. That's how drunk I was on it. And this same drunkenness comes here. I swear this is related. This is why you'll see we're not going to be talking about what I was just talking about before. Hundreds of years of black blood spilled that basically fills the cups we drink from today, said Councilman Keith Young. It's simply not enough to remove statues. Black people in this country are dealing with issues that are systemic in nature. So again, we're going to protect this by segregating all these people because they can't take care of themselves. They don't have the ability to. You see, we enslaved them. None of us are enslaved. It's only the black people that are enslaved. And the only way to enslave them, to unenslave them, is to segregate them and separate them. Don't give them money. But we're going to spend money on the segregation parts, on the parts that segregate them. You know, we'll build like a fence. More like an usher line. It's not a wall, James. It's an usher line. It's a grand usher line that says black people are cool. And in order to make it so it's really efficient, it's going to be made out of chain link. That's all. And we don't want birds landing on the top, so we're going to put barbed wire on there. This is how we apologize. This is how we say we're sorry. Now this Wetiko, this concept that I will destroy by saving, is not a new thing. Nor are masks a new thing. My friends, all of this was revealed to you on April 22nd, 1970, with the invention of Earth Day. And this entire campaign is still rolling today. April 22, Earth Day. A disease has infected our country. It has brought smog to Yosemite, dumped garbage in the Hudson, sprayed DDT in our food, and left our cities in decay. Its carrier is man. Its carrier is man. Who introduced Earth Day? The New York Times did. The New York Times introduced the idea that we have to save the earth. The New York Times introduced the idea that a disease has infected our country. It has brought smog to Yosemite, dumped garbage in the Hudson, sprayed DDT in our food, and left our cities in decay. Its carrier is man. And when you introduce Earth Day, you introduce a prana economy. An economy based off dirty footprints that you can't see, that I can't see, that none of us can see, but they're there. And the entire system is built on that. And when you have a system built on that can't be seen, measured, or tracked, you have a full economy that's not built on false currency, but is built on false virtue. It's the exact same system that was built, the exact same thing. Now, one of the programs that instigated this is a program that was dear to my heart, a program called Earth First. No compromise in the defense of Mother Earth. And here you see that same fist there. And my friends, if you think I confessed something yesterday, wait till you hear that I tell you that I used to be the Katuah. You don't really have officers in Earth First. It's sort of like a communist circle that meets. But I was throwing down for them pretty big when I was in Asheville. I was buying into this idea. I was young. And young doesn't make you dumb. It doesn't make you unwise. It simply gives you more ignorance to build with. And on this show, as you know, ignorance is a beautiful word. It's a kind of virginity. And it allows you to paint pictures that no one else would see who's already lost that virginity, which gives it a purity and an essence and an authenticity that's important in life. And so I'm not here to shun my younger self. I'm here to regret that I was so superficial with my virtue, that I would whore it out to literally anybody. And this is why it's related to the triangle, because you give yourself by default. You're trained to give yourself by default. And by doing that, you don't yet realize it. You think you're nice, you think it's compassionate, but truthfully, what you're doing is just you're whoring out your virtue, your consent, your respect, and your witness. And then you're waiting for someone to wrong it. And then you get to feel victimized, and then you pull it back, and then you heal so that you do it again. And it's a constant rolling out by default. And which means that the stranger, think about it, the stranger always is always trusted more than your friend. It's true. By default, you will lend a new neighbor your clippers. And by default, you will not lend Roger your clippers until he brings back your lawnmower. And you will not even tell Roger that. You will make Roger figure that out for himself, because fuck that guy. The dude that has your lawnmower. You're not going to tell him. You're not going to complain about it. You're just going to withhold your clippers now if he dares to bring the lawnmower back. It's so twisted because of these systems. Because we bought into a disease whose carrier is man. And when I joined Earth First, I smelled right away what it was. I knew right away what this organization was, and I did not last long there. I did not last long because just like in the Navy when I was like, can we stop killing whales? In Earth First, I was like, can we stop vandalizing property? Could we just not? And I'm not trying to say that all of Earth First is vandalism, but I am trying to tell you that there's a prana economy that's built into Earth First that does reward vandalism more, because vandalism is a sign of how upset or affected or passionate you are. Vandalism is the salaciousness that we talk about so much in the media. And those who are not willing to compromise, those who are willing to put on a mask, please notice, to put on a mask and commit violence in the name of Wetiko, in the name of purity, is the oldest game in the book. But we've been taught, the Zionists, the Richie from Boston's, sorry to call them out, but seriously, we've been taught to fear evil as if it's dripping in evil. As if there's a creature that wakes up, this Luciferian pedophile who climbs onto the surface while your children are sleeping and subverts you in ways that you will never know, which means you are an innocent victim as it's happening. And that same virtue is being sucked out of you. That same sort of hypnotism comes out of you because you're dreaming of a plasma image of Jason in a mask, of a Luciferian pedophile who's sniffing children over a vat of acid. And because of that, you are no longer worried about anyone else who's doing anything at all, as long as it looks like their intentions are in the right place. And now we've created an entire hypothetical world of intention. We now live in hypothetical land where no matter what you do, no matter what you decide, no matter what promise you make, none of it's real. And that's what rules are. That's what laws are. Laws are a hypothetical that's never happened that you must conform to regardless of what circumstance is occurring at the time. And even the court system knows how fucked up laws are. That's why you have judges that actually commit the sentence, that actually decides what the sentence is. And even that's fucked up. But we will not ever face predator, because predator means the system is broken, corrupt, or ignorant. Ignorant's not a bad word. Because we think it's a bad word, we can never even admit the system is ignorant, can we? This is why we have to repair these words. It's why I wrote my book. 4 words. I may not remember them all. Ego, ignorance, pride, selfishness. Guys, you got to fix the definitions of those words. You got to fix your relationship to those words. The same definition, but you need to fix your relationship to them. It stops virtue shit like this from happening. It stops you from living in the back of a bus, trying to figure out why you're getting ready to vandalize a bulldozer. And I went on an expedition once. I didn't ever vandalize a bulldozer. My guys wanted to throw rocks in wood chip railroad cars that would go by that were full of chips. And that was the mission. And there were walkie-talkies. There were men meeting in bathtubs. One of them had a gas mask. I don't know why he had a gas mask. None of us had gas. None of us were... It was all about tactical gear. It's like those military fucks that kind of masturbate in front of you by having all their stuff, and it's the exact same mentality. It's based on virtue. The soldier does it for patriotism. The soldier does it for freedom, not sovereignty. Funny how it works that way, right? No one does it for sovereignty. It's always for freedom. Or to save the earth. Or to save you. It's always the same. Not once is there an evil person out there like with the emperor. Hey, I will come kill you. That doesn't fucking happen. But as long as we keep believing that, we will always miss the enemy inside us every time. And these are virtue challenges. The person who built the banner, I've made many of these banners. The guy who made the banner gets virtue when he sees it. The guy that climbs this high to suspend it gets more virtue because he hung it. The person taking the picture gets it. And the entire thing is funded on the idea that the earth is dying. And that idea was given to them by the fucking New York Times. But they don't know because that would require too many calories to own it. Because this feels good. This feels good. When you were surrounded by dissonance, this feels good. And they write manuals on it. I've produced this paper that you see. They have a budget, they have funding, they have printers. They have interns like me that are hired to come in and produce these papers. Fossil fuel infrastructure targeted by Earth First in 3 post-rendezvous actions. And one of their leaders I went to high school with. His name's John Johnson. And he can't even face me on Facebook. He's too much of a chicken shit. I say that because the first time I confronted him about Antifa, I said, hey, John, have you ever considered, you're aware of how bad the propaganda is, that it's whitewashing all of us. Have you ever considered that Black Lives Matter or Antifa could be corporate movements, John? Have you ever considered that it could fucking stem from this? And John can't consider that because he's in charge of virtue. He's in charge of beating people up. He's in charge of carrying spray paint cans. John has his own gas mask. And John dilates the fuck out of anyone who's around him because of it. And that prana dumps into the gas mask. And some new recruit's there like, oh, can I hold this? And he's holding it. He's like, wow, this is like a gas mask. I could like totally like wear this sometime. And just like when I was 13 and I wore this fucking ninja costume that Hal Phillips let me borrow, and the feet were so long that the ninja shoes that I walked like a fucking duck, and I was like trying to be all sneaky and I'd flap, 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 flap as I'm running down the fucking street. I'm completely in black, chubby as fuck, running around in a ninja costume, and I'm no different than these guys. My only excuse is I was 13. It's the only one I had. And this is what's cool. I want you to notice not only the fist, I want you to notice that Coors, this is a, be careful with chainsaws, says Smokey the Bear. Smokey the Bear's cut his head off. Our national forest land of many abuses. Only you can prevent clear cuts, says Smokey. And here's Earth First saying Coors is anti-earth. Check this out. Anti-women, anti-labor. And the exact same things are being applied. Labor, women, equality, racism, communism. And they're all being channeled through the same icon. Which brings us to Katuah, Earth First. Well, James, you talk about Katuah all the time. That's right, mother. That's right, brother. That's right. Katuah is not Earth First's word. Katuah is the land's word. And Katuah knows the land. It knows the name of the land. And Katuah is built on a tribe of destruction. The joy and happiness in destroying the machine. I'm not even saying that's wrong. Just telling you that the tribe itself has built a virtue economy around that idea. And the ones who showcase that idea the most are the ones that dilate the most voters. These people in the around the fire are voters. And it's no different than there being a wall. And Donald Trump is carrying people around the wall. It's the exact same system. Earth First puts out direct action manuals showing you how to disassemble cranes, how to derail train tracks, how to destroy electrical systems. ELF, right, the Animal Liberation Front or something. Same kind of idea because it came from the exact same sandbox. And oddly enough, I can't believe I found this online. It's been at least 20 years since I was in Earth First. And I'm pretty sure I made this t-shirt stencil. We would make t-shirts in the bathtub. And I distinctly remember cutting these out and choosing that font. I can't prove it's me, but it's funny that this is still happening today. And that if I was proud of that, I would see that and go, oh my God, I did so great. But I know she's a fucking idiot. I guarantee you she's wearing a mask right now. And she's walking around going, we gotta fucking save the earth. Like, what? We gotta fucking save the earth. What? We have to save the earth. Oh, okay. Yeah, we'll fucking save it. And it's not even disrespecting that because that passion, of course it's virtuous. Of course it's authentic. And this is why it never works to shit on their passion. Because to shit on their passion is only going to make it stronger. You know shit is flammable. And when you throw shit on a fire like passion, it's only going to burn more. You know that, right? So Katuah is actually a level 3 ecoregion. It's a spot. It's Kuala. The Kuala is the name of you could sort of call it the capital of the Cherokee Nation. Katuah itself is not a Cherokee word, but Kuala embodies the same principles. Katuah is the center. Nantahala, one of my favorite forests, is land of the noonday sun. And if you understand the beauty of the Southern Appalachians, you know why I live here. These are the oldest mountains in the world. And I'm honored to be their living soil. And the name Katuah itself can be utilized, it is being utilized by a larger agenda. This level 3 ecoregion is, believe it or not, part of a larger agenda, a global agenda. This map came from the UN. Katuah didn't. I've just marked where Katuah was. I wanted you guys to know that the reason why, check it out. Here's what's funny. The center of Kuala, the center of Katuah, The only way to even see it on a map is to go to the United Nations. What I mean by that is that the center of the true heart of the land, guys, the ecoregion itself, guys, the ecoregion is real. It's not bureaucratic. If you understand the land is alive, you're going to notice that there are temperate zones and that there are ecoregions and that there are swaths of those regions that have certain shapes. And a very, very, very special shape is formed in the Appalachians, this beautiful sine curve that swaths through Katuah. And it divides like a meandering river the most richest, hardiest forests in the world. And the center of that southern section is Katuah, my home. I don't live in North Carolina, guys. I live in Katuah. North Carolina is what you call Katuah to erase it. And when I try and tell people this, I lose followers because I use the word bioregion. Bioregionalism is, in my preferences, a new way of building a decentralized government. When I say a new way, I really mean an old way, because bioregionalism is the Iroquois Confederacy. We're not going to get too lost in this today. Not lost. There's more to cover that we can't go into this today. But I just want you to realize that even as the system is coming to eat you, it's showing you more clues every day. It's showing you more and more clues every day. But you have to wake up from the virtue. I moved whatever actions I could in Earth First directly to the politicians. We would go to the DNR, D-E-N-R, Department of Environment and Natural Resources. In North Carolina, that just happens to be a good place to go. The actions that I would do there is we would actually go to clear cuts, like places where the Forest Service is cutting, and just be their police. We would just monitor, did they actually cut where it's supposed to cut? Sometimes they didn't. It's great. That was a very, very good actionable thing because you tie them up in court. You can slow down a lot of stuff. But the entire time, I never realized I was falling for something. I never realized that I was participating in the exact same system. That this was a matter of being either a Patsy or a Stooge. And there's a difference between those words, and we're going to get to that. But before we do, I just want you to know I'm not the only person who fell for this. That there's an older generation in Asheville that not only fell for this, they never caught on. And they're wearing masks right now, and they're demanding peace, and they're demanding action, and they're celebrating because Donald Trump lost. They feel vindicated in their virtue because Orange Man bad. And some people do not have the electricity to admit they're wrong. Some people do not have the electricity to look at themselves and say, I'm a Patsy or I'm a Stooge. They can't distinguish between the two, nor can they afford the prana credits it takes to admit that they're wrong. They're not here to feel bad about themselves. They're here to feel better about saving the world. They're here to witness the victimhood of the earth. And the one of them that witnesses the salacious victimhood the most gets all the pot. In other words, everyone who's there is paying prana into the center, and the person who shows up with the most salaciousness wins that pot. Wins that pot. The land doesn't get it. The person leading the salaciousness gets it. And this is the oldest game in the book. It's so old that the founder of Greenpeace fell for it too. He was just like me, but he had more money, he had more power, he was more successful. And he fell for this too. And for decades, he poured himself into this. And I'm so sorry that I didn't have this up before. This was the one thing that I just forgot. And I'm going to pull it up right now. So just give me a sec. I'm just finding this video clip that I downloaded for you. In fact, I would talk right now, but it would just make me take longer. Here it is. And I'm going to hit OK.
Why are you here? Well, one of my missions is to turn on its head the idea that carbon dioxide is a pollutant and somehow dangerous, when in fact it is the most important nutrient for all life on Earth, and without it this would be a...
This is the guy that started Greenpeace, if you don't know. Let me just start over again. Co-founder of Greenpeace, sorry.
Why are you here?
Well, one of my missions is to turn on its head the idea that carbon dioxide is a pollutant and somehow dangerous, when in fact it is the most important nutrient for all life on Earth, and without it this would be a dead planet. So I say not only is carbon dioxide good, it is essential, and it's a good thing that we are putting some more carbon dioxide in the atmosphere because it was running low before we came along.
Now that guy founded Greenpeace. And I think he's just like me in the sense that he saw what he was doing, he saw the abuse, he saw what was happening, and he's doing everything he can to speak out against it. And he is the tip of the fucking spear. No one attacks more. No one attacks anyone else more than people attack Peter. What's his last name?
One of my missions is to turn on its head...
Patrick Moore. No one attacks him more. No one attacks Dr. Moore more. Because he's the tip of the spear. He's stepping out against the very thing that all this virtue is feeding. And he saw it. And you know why he saw it? Because he had enough electricity to it. And this is him right there. In the, how do I describe this guy? In the jeans, the light color jeans with the flannel shirt. And the orange hair. That he was there. And only some of us, like I said, only some of us can afford to admit we're wrong. The rest of us turn into Patsies and Stooges. So Patsy is a person who is easily taken advantage of, especially by being cheated or blamed for something. And a Stooge is a person who serves merely to support or assist others, particularly in doing unpleasant work. And my friends, I'd like you to look and say, which one's the Patsy? And which one's the Stooge? Because I think they're both here. I think they're both here. And all the virtue that we give one is only because we took it from the other. Do you understand? You can only love the Stooge because you hate the Patsy. And you can only love the Patsy. Support the Patsies. Right? Save the Stooges. It's all an electrical energy exchange between one and two places, right? All my energy from here goes here. Patsy good, Stooge bad. Stooge good, Patsy bad. And it's an endless cycle. And Dr. Moore saw it. He saw it because he could afford to see it. That the earth crying for help has been the sound of violence that we've committed on humanity itself by selling us the idea that our footprints were dirty. And friends, this is not easy to say. I loved Julia Butterfly Hill. Oh my God. Climbs up in the redwood tree, right? A hippie living in the tree, peeing on the side of it, whatever. She's living there in the trees, trying to save it. And the entire time you're saying, "Go, Julia, go." I wrote her a letter when I was young, just telling her how awesome I thought it was. And you form these bonds behind masks. It's the trauma bonding of it all. This is a trauma bond with crossbows. This is Earth First, Willamette. And it's a class. It's a class that was instigated and implemented by the New York Times. And it's been pushed ever since. But we are too Patsy or too Stooge to see it because of how expensive that is. We'd rather give them virtue for handcuffing themselves. We'd rather call them heroes for vandalizing trees. In Earth First, they teach you how to spike a tree. A spike is when you take like a railroad spike and you hammer it into the tree, just like this guy's doing here, straight in. And it's fascinating that this poster says this. It's just a guy spiking a tree. And one tree's talking to the other. Don't delay, do it today. Sure, it's painful, but think of it as a vaccination against logging. And Earth First is pushing this idea of vaccinating trees. Why? Because wilderness is rapidly disappearing. Immunize your favorite forest. Patsy or Stooge. Patsy or Stooge. And guys, these are beautiful people. And they're being human. And they're being lazy. Lazy with their virtue. Because they've been taught you're supposed to trust right from the beginning. And the same people that were trying to save the trees finally got old enough to pass laws. And those same people that were trying to save trees the whole time passed their laws to stop any kind of commercial logging at all, any kind of forestry, reforestry itself, because of how tainted they felt by even touching a forest. That the entire state fucking burns, and they insist that this is natural. They insist that this is just the way it is. And no one can afford the electricity to say they were wrong. That they're the ones that fucked it up. Because it takes a lot of electricity to admit you're a patsy or a stooge. And it's difficult to distinguish the difference. But they're both in makeup, they're both in costume, they're both wrapped in procedure, and neither one of them has any fucking clue how they got here. This idea of coming together has been forged for a long time. And the only way people can come together is if shit's bad. And the only way shit can be bad is if people make it bad. And that truly is the solidarity movement. The movement of unions itself has always been about bringing people together to fight the dissonance around them, which means if they want unions, all they need is dissonance. And that's easy. That is so cheap. There is mass lazy humanity willing to fight for the virtue against that dissonance, so people want it. They are willing to worship the dissonance of liberty and justice for all. That where we go one, we go all is truly what a union is. And the same colors, the same schemes, the same feelings, the same facial expressions are still running today. And the only reason why all it took was a fucking promise of hope from a black man, with zero being done at all, and it still made everyone feel better, shows you this is a comfort movement, not a truth movement. That this has nothing to do with authenticity. Because authenticity would be more people like Moore, Dr. Moore. And that when you push people together in this union, you end up creating gang warfare. Right? These are the evergreen college kids. And I don't know why they've always been let off the hook here. I don't know why these guys have always been considered. Actually, I do know why. It's why we're here. But this is what you get. And you only get this because you believe that white people are evil, that xenophobia is real, that sexism is real, that racism is real, that America's oppressor, that there is racism molecules inside the center of bronze statues, and they must be destroyed and broken open. Even if it kills a black protester's life, it was still worth it because by God, that statue had to be taken down. And if you want to know why Trump paints his face orange, it's because you're looking at a Clockwork Orange law and order campaign. And that the only reason why you can have law and order is if you have gangs wandering the streets, telling you how important it was. When we come together like this, when we unionize like this, that's how we drowned. And anyone who falls for that, anyone who lives off the pension, anyone who lives off the retirement, is truly drowning in the goo because they could never admit they were a Patsy or a Stooge. They didn't have the electricity. And I don't blame them. It's hard. You're surrounded by a world that tells you ego is bad, that ignorance is bad, that selfishness is bad, and that pride is bad. And if you don't have any of those things, how are you going to rise? How are you going to get up? I don't think you can. And I don't think that that's the Luciferian pedophiles doing it to us. I think it's people like us that are in denial. People like us that aren't willing to admit that they were a Patsy or a Stooge. But let's hear what you guys think. It's that time, ladies and gentlemen, for the airing of Grievance. It's the time in our show where we decide, hey man, this Grievance needs some air. Well, there's been talk about us making this a watering of gratitude, but grievance is truly a beautiful thing. You shouldn't be looked at as negative, because grievance is vitriol. Vitriol is how we grow, understand. It's how we admit we're Patsies. It's how we admit we're Stooges. So let's hear it, folks. Who's got a grievance? Someone give me a grievance. Somebody give me a grievance. The codpiece of righteousness, that's right. What is this about worshiping James? This might be an interesting topic. Dreamy Dudes, so don't revere James, revere God. Okay, here we go. Something's going on here about revering me. Dreamy Dudes, we all revere something. Let's see, Dreamy Dudes, flat accordion, yeah, I get it. The whole thing to here seems like another reverence hierarchy to me. Gotcha. That's perfect. I support that, Dreamy Dudes, because I think you were actually participating in the reverence hierarchy too. Does that make sense? What I mean by that is that you're seeing what you call a reverence hierarchy, and so you help build it by saying, we should destroy these blocks here. This guy has too much reverence. We need more reverence over here. In a lot of ways, Dreamy Dudes, you're saying that you want more reverence too. And you know what, Dreamy Dudes? You know what's different about this show? I want you to have reverence. There is plenty to go around. And your lack of reverence, your lack of feeling that, is truly what I see as a lack of ego. And I want you to have more. Because, Dreamy Dudes, the more ego you have, the more generous you will be in chat to others. So this idea that, he just wants attention, we should really change that to say, he wants attention. Because, he wants attention truly means, my witness can heal him right now. The witness that I could give this person who wants attention would feel better from my witness. What a fucking compliment. But we twist that because we say, he wants attention. He wants attention. When really we should be saying, he wants attention. Do you see? Notice I'm not asking you to change the definition of any word. I'm asking you to change your approach. That when you lack ego, what you truly lack is generosity. And that when you have full ego, what you truly have is generous generosity. Multipitous generosity. Multipitous generosity. And that what you call the narcissistic egomaniac is the exact same thing that Dreamy Dudes might call the Luciferian pedophile. He came onto the shore, and he was swallowing my reverence. That kind of feeding only happens in a scarcity economy. You feel that reverence is scarce, Dreamy Dudes. And the reason why you feel reverence is scarce is because you lack reverence for yourself. And you're asking others for help. And that's not a grievance. It's an opportunity for all of us to give you witness, which I think is beautiful. I think it's great. And the next time you see a kid and you try and tell yourself, he needs attention, say, he needs attention. Because it's a completely different way of looking at the exact same thing. We all want reverence, but it really is poison, Dreamy Dude says. I think that that you're in denial, of an addiction, Dreamy Dudes. You're born with an addiction to humanity, and you're trying to tell us all that you can beat that addiction. And good luck, because there's nothing wrong with even trying that. It's okay. It's okay. It's we are 1,000% pouring our witness everywhere, no matter what. And it's all a matter of where we turn our heads. There's a reason why our eyes on the front of our head. We are like Cyclops from X-Men. We are beaming our reverence somewhere. Somewhere. And Dreamy Dudes thinks you should not beam it towards me. And that's great. I think that you should understand what Dreamy Dudes also understands, which your reverence is important. Your witness is important. And where you pour that witness is going to determine everything. Determines who you are. Anyway, it doesn't seem like Dreamy Dudes even wants to hear that, and that's cool. I think that our time together should be something that we should revere, because we have so little of it. And if you don't want to revere it here, Dreamy Dudes, I think you should find a place to revere it, because you're going to revere yourself anyway. You're going to find a place to revere. And if you're going to revere I feel amazing today. And I feel amazing because I revered myself yesterday. I'm just telling you how it works. And I live in an economy where it's resonance economy. It's not scarcity economy. And the more reverence I can resonate is going to be directly proportional to me revering myself, if that makes sense. Watching my own shedding of electricity. And if you're here and you feel like there's too much reverence, Dreamy Dude, you were the one pouring that reverence in, so you should probably withdraw. I'm not asking you to leave, but seriously, you should consider that if you were to withdraw, you would stop losing electricity, because right now you're losing electricity because you're revering me as you're insisting that everyone should stop revering. Do you see how that works? It's so fucked up, right? It's so fucked up, and it's okay, Dreamy Dudes. It's okay, because this is what gets us all, because we're not willing to understand which of these we can be. So I saw Kristen asking the difference between these two, and I don't even know how much it even matters, because each of these are going to be very much like the triangle. Like if I were to show you the love triangle, you would see, there's perpetrator, savior, persecutor, victim. And those roles change as they play, Kristen. They change as they play. In other words, me as the victim in the triangle is also a persecutor because I exposed what was happening. So yesterday I was persecuting Lauren, you could say, or I was persecuting Andy. Andy, by not answering me in reference to all the times that I wrote him, he was persecuting me. I felt like the victim. The point is that there's not one of us is a victim, not one of us is all of us are all three. And it's the only way you could truly get out of the triangles to realize that you are victimizing someone else just as much as they are victimizing you, which is why you have to expose that shit and get rid of it. The same thing really is true with Patsy and Stooge, right? A person, you could say they're the same thing even, Kristen. A person who is easily taken advantage of, especially by being cheated or blamed for, is a Patsy. Someone, the scapegoat, right? So in this case, the scapegoat, who would the scapegoat be in this case? Well, think about it. He, the guy in the blackface, which is funny. It's funny that an organization. Oh my God, that's funny. Anyway, he is calling the armed guard the Stooge, but the armed guard is probably thinking that this guy's the Stooge, and both of them are Patsy and Stooge at the same time. It's really just a matter of how they feel. It's either way is evacuation. Either way is abandonment. Are there any more grievances besides the fact that people shouldn't watch my show? Right on Star Social. I will see you later this afternoon. Glenn Bordet, 70 years old on a pension. I'm the only person I know who sees that the current BS of mass hypnosis. And while I don't resent your remarks about retirees, I squirm a little. I don't think you should resent that at all, because we are standing on the shoulders of giants, Glenn. You brought us here. And sure, we might see more than you, but that's because we're standing on your fucking shoulders, Glenn. The only reason why we can see farther than you is because we're standing on your shoulders. And the height that you gave us today is exactly why we can see more than you. It's exactly why. So please understand how crucial, how important it's been for all of us. We thank you, Glenn. You're the one that actually got us where we could see this high. And trust me, we are fucking idiots too. We're going to feel that way is what I'm trying to say. It probably sounds like I just called you an idiot, but what I mean is that we are joining you. We have the same thing. We are not seeing the same thing is what I mean by that, right? Oh, James D. Super chat, big one, takes ego, witness. Let's see. Electricity, love, takes ego, love, witness, love, electricity. That's probably a better way to say it. Not saying they shouldn't watch, just reverence it, poison for human beings. Dreamy, I think that if you try and raise a kid without reverence, you're going to not have a kid. That kid will be dead. But good luck with that, buddy. Just never, ever, ever, ever babysit for me if I was to ever be blessed with kids. All right. Thank you, Shiva Shampoo, for acknowledging that I am deprogrammed is wonderful. He sure is. Thank you. I grieve that more people don't watch your show. Boom! Real Chunk Berry comes in with the winter grievance. I agree. More people should watch this show. But I keep talking about my love triangles, and I keep discussing my problems, and people don't want to hear about that. They want to hear more stuff. So, and that's where we're at now. Maybe the show will improve. Who knows? But I'm happy with the work we're doing. I hope you guys saw a lot today. That you're not going to see things like that because you probably never met anyone that was in Earth First that's actually telling you that. In fact, to clear that up a little bit more, I noticed right away that the people in Earth First wanted little to do with saving the world and were more looking for a community within themselves. And I'm not faulting that. They were looking for reverence. And they could find reverence by chucking rocks into train cars, by spiking trees in order to protect them. They're vaccinating trees with steel in order to protect them. And they would say no to me all the time when I said, hey, you guys want to go check out this forest map and make sure they didn't cut more trees? It's like, no, we want to fuck shit up. Can we spray paint something? Do you have money for spray paint? And the money that John Johnson has, who I grew up with, that money is funded. He gets a budget. The Southern Appalachian Biodiversity Project was my first. I went as a freelancer when I was 25, like in graphic design. And the very first client I had was the Southern Appalachian Biodiversity Project. And they were sort of like a higher up organization of Earth First. They would donate things to Earth First. But a lot of that same money would pour in. You're check it out. These people hide behind mountaintop removal. These people hide behind clean coal. These people hide behind electricity for all. This is how they're saving the earth, is by giving electricity for all. By mining the shit out of lithium so we can stop mining the shit out of coal. By creating transport chains that have to stretch across the earth now to stop us from pulling resources that are abiogenic. Oil, abiogenic. 6 miles below the ground, 4 miles deeper than any dinosaur fossil that's ever been found. And you cannot get one fucking Earth Firster to admit that because they will not watch that because there's no virtue in it. There is zero virtue in breaking a triangle. There is zero virtue in telling the truth. There is zero virtue or reward in exposing bullshit. That's not how it works here in Babylon. And that's why so many people don't, which was what makes it the best apocalypse ever, because the only ones that you know for sure are authentic are the only ones that are being authentic, because they are the only ones that think it's important enough to spend that money. Bam! They're making the pranic purchase. Bam! And it's not about virtue. It's about authenticity. It's about the internal feeling that they have of themselves by doing the right thing, regardless of how many times they wind up being the Patsy or the Stooge. And those are true people. Those are genuine tribe. People who do that, you'll never find someone like that. Thanks, James. Love the book. Thank you, Glenn. I'm glad you love it. And for those of you who don't have the book, I'm so sorry. I want you to know, I can't wait till you get the book. I've got another batch coming tomorrow. And then another batch coming next week. I think those are getting sold out fast. If you've not bought, oh, thank you, Joe Mega. Perfect timing. If you've not, damn, I love this guy. It was his birthday yesterday, by the way. If you cannot, I forgot because of how awesome timing was there. Get the book. click that link and get it. Now's the time to get that, because the next batch I've ordered like 100. I took all the sales I had and bought more books with it, so I have like a bunch more. But those are going fast too. I'm not just saying that. If you want to get a book in time, I really think you need to order it quicker. And I am going to order a bunch more as soon as I can afford it too. But anyway, this is how it rolls out. I always do the best I can on this. The books it's what I'm all about. But anyway, yeah. Jay, Jesus equals love your neighbor as you love yourself. I agree, Jennifer, and let's remember that if we love ourselves like shit, we are going to love our neighbors like shit. I know you know that too, Jay. And I just want us to remember that. If we love ourselves like shit, this whole clue about love your neighbor like yourself still fails. So let's just remember that. In fact, I'm under the impression that we can have a shortcut and just love yourself. Because when you love yourself, you're going to have more reverence for yourself, which means you're going to be that much more generous when you have it. Not dissing Jesus, Jay, just saying that we seem to have forgotten the importance of reverence too. Where's magnets, James? The magnets are inside the books, Hugh. If you get a book from me, not from Amazon, if you order it from me, you get a magnet or two. Depends. And they're signed. So there you go. Yep. We're gonna land this plane, and Gabriel 42, and shall cast them into a furnace of fire. There shall be wailing and gnashing of teeth. Okay. I bet Gabriel's probably making another. I don't know what that was about, but it's okay. Halfway through, James. It's great. Thanks, Ryan Walker. I hope you enjoy that. I've gotten 2 great reviews so far. Okay, gotcha, Gabriel. Yeah, so cast them in the furnace. That was Jesus too, says Gabriel. Yeah. Guy, I miss you. I can't wait till I'm off restriction. You guys are posting on Facebook, and it's just making me smile. It's so nice that even though I've been punished for telling my story, that people are still cheering for me. That's awesome. So actually, I take it back. There's a lot of virtue. If anything, Gaia, you're ruining my potlatch by making it fun to be in jail. So how dare you? All right, guys. Thanks a lot. That oil bit is brilliant. It's true. How old did we get here? Abiogenic. I've done lots of shows about this. In fact, there's an entire chapter dedicated to it in my earlier book, Blueprints of Mind Control. It's showing you I think it's Blueprints of Mind Control. If you just get them all, you'll have it all. But it explains the entire abiogenic thing and the myth of dinosaur of fossil fuels. Rachel did not get a magnet. I cannot believe this. Did you order from me, Rachel? That's impossible. It's impossible. If I get your address, I will mail you magnets right now. Before I go into Dojo, I will mail you magnets. And you can message me on Facebook. I just can't post. Thanks again, Lauren. If you type it in there, I would love to send you magnets. So please consider that. Hey, Fat Bay the Penguin, thanks for your super chat the other day. Yeah, hit that like button, everybody. Why not? Hit that like button. You guys ready for some horsey? You ready for some horsey? Thanks for being here, guys. Thanks for listening to me yesterday. If you're coming to the dojo, look forward to it. I cried like a bitch yesterday. You can see that only if you remember the dojo. I'm not encouraging you to see it. It's just, man, guys, it's building this trauma bond with all of us. I know all of you look at me differently now because of the things that I was saying yesterday, and I'm proud of that. The authenticity is forging a bond that more of us humans have. It's holding us accountable. And I love that we have this dojo where we can hold each other to the authenticity. There's nothing else like it. So thank you for being a part of that. You guys are beautiful. And can't wait to see you tomorrow too. Have a great day. And here comes the song. Get ready.